I think resistance is inevitable. You know, it's not Star Trek, resistance is futile. No, resistance is inevitable because we're all versions, holographic versions of the younger self, like little versions of self that get laid over. The unconscious mind, I remember Richard Bandler saying, people think the mind is like a read-write system where you erase a file and then write over it again. He said, no, think of it as an archive system. So as things happen, the system stores it at those logical levels. And as we grow, there's another program. It might seem like it's an upgrade, but it's still built upon those earlier programs. And if we don't go back to those earlier programs, they will still be having an effect. So if I go back to the NLP presuppositions, every behavior serves a purpose. The anger response serves a purpose, points to something. The frustration tells you something. Guilt tells you something. Sit with the emotion and go, what is the lesson and message behind this signal? And listen. Every behavior serves a purpose. And the map is not the territory. You get to redraw the map. You can climb up the mountain and go various different routes. You know when the knights went for the Holy Grail? You know the adventures of the Holy Grail, when they had to find the Holy Grail? They all took different routes into the forest. We all have to pave and find our own route through the forest to find the Holy Grail, which is who we really are. Why are we here? What are we meant to be doing? And on that journey through the forest, you're going to encounter some of those candy cane sugar houses where you're going to be enticed in by some witch who's going to cast a spell on you. And you're also going to find some monsters, and there'll be some mazes where you're going to get caught up in it and go round and round in circles. And then occasionally you're going to meet some dragons and some ghosts. And then occasionally you'll meet heroes along the way, because to me, the shadow work so beautifully fits in with the hero's journey. Why are you here? What do you want? And is this the best game you're going to play? Or are you just doing the best you can to get by? Because shadow work is all about, it's not about suppressing, it's not about cleaning it up, it's not about denying it, it's about integrating it and making it whole, which is why it's quite often associated with awakening and enlightenment as well. Yes, spiritual growth. For many of you, I know many of you are on that, in fact, I'd say all of you are on that path of understanding yourself and who you are and your place in the universe more. But many people then start to get a sense of no self and a sense of expansiveness and a sense of non-separation. Well, when there's still shadow work to be done, there's still separation, because we're seeing it as a part of ourselves that's not us. So there's an integration which it doesn't mean the shadow work disappears, but it kind of acknowledges it, appreciates it, accepts it, and invites it to come forward so we can then start to work on it. Are you ready for this? Okay, sit back. I will be talking to different parts of you. This is a version of Big Mind. So Big Mind, for those of you that haven't done Big Mind with myself or Tina before, it's a process created by Genpo Roshi. It's one of my favorite books is the Bhagavad Gita. And I'm a student of the Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, his charioteer Krishna, they have a conversation. Arjuna is meant to go into battle. And on the two sides of the hills are his family. There's uncles and there's brothers, and he doesn't want to fight people, but Krishna says you have to fight. It's a metaphor for addressing our unconscious. Now, what Big Mind enables us to do is to get us and our ego, the intimidated and inflated ego, out of the way. When we get the ego out of the way, we can get to work with the parts that quite often have been disowned. So take a comfortable, easy breath in, and when you breathe out. Now, I know you know how to go into trance. You don't need to go into a deep trance for this. You could go into a light trance, a comfortable trance, whatever trance is the right trance for you now. And my voice will go with you. I'm going to be very conversational with this deep dive into the shadows. We're not going to dive into it. The shadows are going to reveal themselves to you in a way that's just right and appropriate for you. I want to talk to the master controller, the part of you that I'm going to call the master controller. Who am I talking to? And I want you to just acknowledge with master controller. Now, the master controller is a part of you that provides balance and harmony. It's just a name for a part of the system, the holographic system known as you. I want the master controller to allow you to experience something new, an exploration, a moment of discovery. But to only explore, to only go as deep into the shadow conversation as you need to right now, because your pathway is already your pathway. It's not the pathway I think you should be following. It's your unique journey towards that holy grail of awakening and enlightenment and full realization and individualization. I want the master controller to go off into the background, and I want to talk to the protector part. I want to talk to the protector part. Who am I talking to? Now, the protector part, your role is to look after them, to take care of them, to keep them safe. And you've been doing this from the moment they were born. And of course, things have changed. And the things you had to protect them from back then are different to the things you have to protect them from now. And their ability to adapt, their ability to manage, their ability to ascertain where there are risks and concerns and things to avoid has changed over time. They now have more wisdom. Many times when people are younger, they neither have the ability nor the wisdom to fully protect themselves. Yet there's something to remember. We are already survivors. And that counts for a lot. That whatever anyone has gone through, you're a survivor. And the protector has done a good job of protecting you. But for the purposes of this exercise, I invite the protector to go off into the background, knowing that it will always keep you safe and secure. And if there was a need for you to act or react, you would do so. I want to talk to the evaluating and decision-making part of you. To the evaluating and decision-making part of you. Who am I talking to? And there's a part of you that evaluates life, opportunities, relationships, environment, risks, hopes, dreams, desires. And it decides what's important to you and what you do and how you do what you do. And that evaluating, decision-making part of you has evolved over the decades. There are things that maybe you would have evaluated when you were a teenager in a very different way to the way you evaluate them now. There are decisions that you would make now with more experience, more wisdom, that would be very different to the ones you made when you were a toddler. Your ability to make wise decisions has improved over time. And I want the evaluating decision-making part of you to go off into the background and to evaluate this process, an exploration. I want you now to hold your hands out in front of you, palms face upwards. And in the left palm, I want you to be present, to represent you now, the present you, how you see and perceive yourself. You as you are, now, here, today, this moment in time. And on the other hand, I want you to get a sense of your true self, your authentic self. You at your higher potential. Maybe you've got clarity on what that is. Maybe you're understating it. Maybe you're not sure. And whether it's clear or not clear doesn't matter, because your unconscious has a sense of that, because it was born with that full potentiality. It's still there. And in the gap between, I want you to imagine there's a shadow, and acknowledge the shadow. Let it know it's been seen. And to understand it has a protective purpose. It serves a purpose. And maybe within the shadows, there are many forms of shadows, different layers, different aspects. And I want the master controller, the protector, and the evaluating decision-making part to work together behind the scenes to allow the shadow to communicate with you, to be seen, to be heard in a way that's just right for you to evolve. And I want you to look at the shadow and ask the question, what's in the shadow that's resisting your full potential, your authentic self? And invite that part to speak to you. And ask the shadow to show you in a way that is right and appropriate what early experiences shaped the resistance. What early experiences shaped the resistance? And ask the shadow, what does the resistant part need? Then ask the shadow, how can I honor both the resistance and my authentic self and integrate the shadow and the resistance? How can I honor both the resistance and my authentic self and integrate the shadow? And up above your head, there's a point. We call it apex. And I want you to see apex, a line coming down to present, a line coming down to authentic, and join the two. And for present and authentic to begin to join, to integrate, and to allow back in any parts of self that have been denied, forgotten, suppressed, repressed. Welcome them back in to be whole. To be whole and complete. And when you're ready to pull that inside of you, and allow every cell in your body to begin to realign with who you really are, your truth, you, your authentic self, unique, whole, and perfect from the moment you arrived on the planet and before. And tonight, while you sleep, while you dream and while you sleep, I want your unconscious to integrate these changes, and for the evaluating, decision-making part, the protector and the master controller, to work with you and to guide you, so that wherever there is more work to be done, wherever you may be triggered or wherever you may notice there's responses that are unexplained or excessive, whenever there are moments when you find yourself being, then you will recognize there's work to be done. And I want to thank the parts of you. I want to thank them. So we're not eliminating, we're integrating. So you can begin to examine any triggers, notice any projections, and become aware of any patterns, all in the service of being more authentic, more true to who you're meant to be. And I want to thank the evaluating decision-making part. I want to thank the protector. I want to thank the master controller. And I want to thank the shadow part. It's there to be of service to you. And when you're ready, take a deep, deep breath in and bring your attention back to the present.